Are you trying to start a recycling business in New Jersey and not sure what approval you actually need? Maybe you're confused about exemptions or wondering what class of material you fall into. Maybe you're just getting conflicting answers about whether you can even run the business you want to or what the NJDEP is even looking for. If it sounds familiar, we see this all the time. So in this video, we're going to break down how recycling approvals actually work in New Jersey, what trips people up, and how to move forward without wasting time or getting stuck in the process. Hey there, it's Dennis Ruhlin from RMA, your environmental experts. Before we get into recycling approvals today, I just want to let you know here at RMA we've been dealing with recycling regulations in New Jersey since 1992. So if you need help with recycling, feel free to reach out. We'd love to see if we're a good fit for your needs. All right, let's get back to it. Number one is the most common problem that we see, and that's overestimating your location. When we first start down the road of working with a potential client, we normally ask, how are you positioned in your municipality? How are you positioned in your county? Do they like you? Do you think their application will be warmly greeted with open arms, or will they fight against you? How about your neighbors at your proposed location? Literally, what's across the street? Who's behind you? Whenever we start asking these questions, invariably we're told that we're good, they love us, there'll be no problems at all, only to find out a few months later, and a lot of money later, that the township or the county is actually not in favor of their operation. Maybe they're zoned incorrectly, maybe there's a strong neighborhood opposition. Whatever the reason, if you don't get this right out of the gate, you're stuck at the starting line, and chances are really, really good that if you can't move beyond that, you will not be able to go anywhere, and you will not be able to run the recycling center that you hope to. Number two is not clearly defining your recycling operations, and this is a pretty common problem. Now, you might know what you do on a day-to-day basis, but if that's not clearly explained in your application, the NJDEP, or even worse, the county, is left trying to interpret what that means. And we've seen approvals stall because things like the process wasn't clearly described, or the materials were not well defined, or even the end use of those materials wasn't well explained. Playing off the last point is number three, incomplete or inaccurate application information. All too often we've seen applications get submitted with missing details, inconsistent information, or sections that are just vague. Now, from your perspective, it might feel like you've covered everything, but from the NJDEP's perspective, your application immediately starts to raise questions. And when they have questions, the process slows down. Number four is misunderstanding NJDEP recycling approval requirements. Let's make this very clear, the state of New Jersey does not make recycling easy. The rules are nuanced and pretty complicated, and they don't always apply the same way to every facility. So a big mistake is assuming, hey, this is probably fine, or this isn't a regulated activity, we don't have enough material on site, or I can't find a clear answer, so it doesn't apply. Number five is very simple, and that's poor site plans and facility layouts. Now, with your NJDEP application, your site plan isn't just a formality. It's got to be right, and it's one of the first things reviewers are going to look at to understand how your operation actually works. If it's unclear, incomplete, or doesn't align with your written description, that's a problem. Number six is when we start looking at a bigger picture, and that's ignoring environmental compliance risks. Now, a lot of people focus so much on the approval that they overlook the environmental compliance side of things. What that means is you will be asked to demonstrate compliance with a whole host of other NJDEP regulations as part of your application. It's not just your recycling application alone. For example, you're going to be asked about NJDEP stormwater permits. You're going to be asked about air permits for equipment and processes and materials. Your site's location will be brought into discussion relative to state of New Jersey environmental justice requirements, which in and of themselves can seriously impact your recycling approval process, and much, much more. The wrong answers or no answers to any of these can and will raise red flags. And at the very least, they're going to slow your application down to a crawl. The last one on this is underestimating documentation and supporting data. You have to remember, a recycling approval application is not just a single form. It's a multi-level package that includes a lot of different components with it. The package often includes things such as a well-crafted and well-thought-out site plan, a lot of supporting documentation, including process diagrams, equipment listings, equipment spec sheets, and a whole lot more. And once you get to the NJDEP stage, your supporting documentation is going to confirm or deny that you're okay with your host municipality and that you've been approved by your county's solid waste agency. It's going to include a lot of technical information about your business, your upstream and downstream vendors, And none of this is covering the initial high fee that are going to be required by the NJDEP just to submit your application. Now, if you're starting to think about hiring some help for applying for an approval or updating an existing one, I strongly recommend you use our recycling pricing calculator on our website to get a general sense of what this could cost you. You don't have to enter any personal information. It's a nice, quick, easy way to find out what a recycling project could cost you here in New Jersey. If you're still trying to understand the basics or how the requirements can apply to your operation, our Learning Center is a great place to start. It walks through a lot of the common scenarios we see across different facility types here in New Jersey who are trying to get into the recycling business. But if you're not even sure what category you fall into or whether what you're doing requires an approval at all, that's usually where it makes the most sense to just reach out and talk it through. You can email us, give us a call, or schedule a time to talk with our team. Because with recycling approvals in New Jersey, small misunderstandings can turn into bigger compliance issues if they sit for too long. And we see that happen more often than people expect.